I'm in pain every day to remind me of what I have done. I'll never forget that day.
A 19-year-old is going to prison for a drunk driving crash that killed one of her friends. Good evening, everyone. Taylor Claus was convicted of first-degree vehicular manslaughter for a crash last year on the Tuscarora Reservation. She'll now spend 6 months behind bars. News 4's George Rickard is live in the newsroom with the latest. George?
Well, Don, the credibility of a key witness would have been questionable at trial, and that's why a grieving family reluctantly agreed to accept a plea and a shorter jail sentence than they had hoped for. The crash was May of last year on Walmore Road in the town of Niagara, a month before 19-year-old Jasmine Dubuc would have graduated from Niagara Wheatfield High School. Her father says getting that phone call from police asking him to identify his only daughter was worse than trying to live without air.
Pain filled my soul, and an indescribable pain welled up into my throat.
The driver, 19-year-old Taylor Claus, had a blood alcohol content more than twice the legal limit. She spent weeks in a coma at ECMC.
I do not know everything that happened that night, but I do know we lost a beautiful person. My cousin, my best friend. I'm in pain every day to remind me of what I have done.
Claus pleaded guilty to vehicular manslaughter, and State Supreme Court Justice Richard Clark has now sentenced her to 6 months in jail and 5 years probation.
I had my way because we all know what your so-called debt to society will be. I would have a poster made for your jail cell showing you what was left of Jazz after the car fell on her head.
Now her parents are left to care for Jasmine's child, who was only 6 weeks old at the time of the crash.
I hope you can make those changes needed to correct your behavior and change the attitudes that got us all where we are today. If not, there is a special place reserved for psychopaths at the state penitentiary, and I'm sure there's room for one more.
As long as there are drugs, alcohol, and cars, there will always be families like ours losing someone too soon, too young.
Taylor Claus could be out of jail in 4 months on good behavior, but for the next 5 years, she cannot drink or drive, and she must wear a monitored ankle bracelet at all times.